leads us to James 1:27, where it says, religion that is pure and undefiled before God the Father is this, to visit orphans and widows in their affliction and to keep oneself unstained by the world. You know, this is an interesting verse because it's often referred to as a command, as a mandate, when in fact it's actually really not. There's no command. This verse isn't telling us to do anything. It's actually describing something for us. It's describing something really beautiful for us. And so let's pick it apart just real quick here. Here's what it's describing for us. This is seminary, by the way. You take really fine verses and you mark them up and X them out, and it's a lot of fun. And here's why, because it just helps us to see underneath the surface of what we're reading. So that word religion there isn't our word religion. It's not like cathedrals and steeples. This word religion literally means an outward display of something that's inwardly true. And that's what we're talking about here, an outward display of the gospel, which is inwardly true in us. And so James is now describing one of the purest and most undefiled outward displays of the gospel that this world will ever see. You want to put the gospel on display with great vividness and clarity and purity? Then visit or move, step towards, get involved with. This is a hard one. Because the world we live in says, avoid hard and broken things at all costs. Insulate yourself from them. Isolate yourself from them. Move across town. Structure a life where you can live out the rest of your days pretending like hard and broken things do not exist. And then James says, how about we be a people who move and step towards and get involved with the most vulnerable in our society. He uses orphans and widows, again, as representatives, as descriptives of that. Because in his culture, orphans and widows, the husbandless and the fatherless, were considered to be the most worthless. And so he's using them in really a profound way. If you were the audience of James at that time, and you heard James say one of the purest and most undefiled ways for us to put the work of God on display is to get involved with orphans and widows, there would be a collective gasp in the room. What? Really? Them? Them? Yes. The most vulnerable in our society. That's our people. That's where we go. That's where the gospel is put on display with a vividness and a purity unlike anything else. And so we could argue very easily that homelessness and incarceration and trafficking and the struggling neighbor across the street, if we were to go to James and say, James, you didn't mention any of them, he would say, yes, I did. This is representative of the most vulnerable in society, that we would be a people who move and step towards and get involved with them. Because when we do that, it puts the work of Jesus on display in pure and undefiled ways. So the implications of this are pretty clear. That one of the purest and most undefiled demonstrations of the gospel is to see hard places and broken people and move towards them, not away from them. This is what James 1:27 is suggesting, that you and I would become the kind of people that say, I see you where you are, and I'm coming after you. And when we do that, the people around us say, gosh, why are you doing that? You're supposed to insulate and isolate. Why are you doing that? Why are you purposely stepping into hard and broken places? Why would you do that? Your family will look at you like you're crazy. Your friends will look at you like you're crazy. Your mother-in-law will look at you like you're crazy, right? You'll look in the mirror sometimes and say, hey, you're crazy. What are you doing? And you're right, it's crazy. It's crazy that God would do this for us. And it's crazy that he would then invite us and give us the privilege to step in and do the same for others. It's crazy.